And now I give the floor to Minister Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer.
Dear Joseph, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed, in the framework of the EU Council Presidency, a very special, extraordinary meeting. It's the first informal meeting that is to take place under coronavirus conditions as a physical, face-to-face encounter. And on behalf of all of my colleagues, I want to thank each and every one who worked behind the scenes to make this meeting happen. We found out that it is quite a different atmosphere, even while adhering to physical distancing rules, that you get together in person instead of just talking to each other on through VTCs. The High Representative already laid out just now what the topics were that we discussed. Of course, we looked into detail into the current situations of concern. We are in agreement with a view to the situation in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. The tensions we experience there between Turkey and Greece are much more than just tensions between two neighboring countries. These tensions have an impact on our cooperation within the EU. They have an influence on our cooperation as partners within NATO. That is why we all agree that we need to work on this as fast as possible, and Germany is doing that at different levels, that we need to get to a relaxation of that tense situation in order to enter into negotiations which finally will lead to a political settlement of this conflict, because this is exactly what we need. NATO Secretary General also laid out his point of view. He said that the accusations that there was NATO aggression towards Belarus is out of thin air. It is a democratic movement. What we're seeing in Belarus, people take to the streets by the hundreds and thousands to fight for their rights, to fight for the right to demonstrate and protest freely and fairly, to vote freely and fairly, and to get free access and unhindered access to information. These efforts are being supported by us, of course, but it is indeed a debate and a struggle for freedom that is of the people of Belarus themselves. With regards to Mali, I think it's considerable that today we were in complete agreement among all 27 member states that we continue to see Mali as an important commitment. Together with ECOWAS, with the African Union, we agree that we need to call upon those who conducted the coup d'etat to start the transformation process and transition process as quickly as possible, and to pave the way for new elections as quickly as possible, and to restore constitutional order as soon as possible. We are also in agreement that we need to look, based on these developments, into how we are going to continue our commitment. But actually, and I want to apply our Afghanistan motto here, we went into that mission together to help and to fight terrorism, and we want to conclude these efforts together and promote these efforts together, first of all. Today, in our second working session, we intensively discussed the topic of the strategic compass. One question is central here. What are the threats and challenges to Europe? How do we view them? How do we want to deal with them? How do we want to respond to them? And to what end do we do that? With the strategic compass, we want to create a policy document. This is the goal of our Council presidency. And so what does that mean in concrete terms? Well, the first step that is necessary for that, which is a joint and common understanding of our threats, that is something that we're working on right now. I would like to thank the EU, which is leading this process right now. And we are working on that together with the EU. We want to have a 360-degree perspective on the threat analysis. We do not want to look north, east, south, and west. No, we want to look beyond conventional threat scenarios, hybrid scenarios, hybrid threats, digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and many other topics that can be of concern. And I'm firmly convinced that if we come to a common and broadly accepted threat analysis, then the path towards a common compass is easier. And I would like to thank my colleagues that we are very ambitiously working on this, and that we will hopefully come to a more common understanding by November. A question that has to do with this is the following question. So sometimes we're not as able to act as we wanted to be and as we wish to be. So how can we make improvements here? It is, because of this question, a goal of the German presidency, and we discussed this today, to get to a solution with regards to the European Peace Facility. We want to look into how far we can equip the training missions as well. When it comes to PESCO and its projects, we want to find a solution to the controversial third state participation and to finally implement it. Then we also want to get to an agreement on the threats that we feel and to figure out what we need in structured cooperation in the form of more PESCO projects to deal with that. In that sense, the informal meeting today is has been a very important step today. We have another intensive working session coming up tonight, and I hope that with this meeting we will shape the coming weeks despite the coronavirus pandemic, and so that we get to the threat analysis come November.